Okay, so we are going to talk about the case study with the Australian Department of the Treasury. They are Technology One users and they are doing e-invoicing. But before we do that, I just want to introduce you to Aaron. So Aaron is a small business owner. He owns a restaurant actually, and he's renovated his restaurant. He's received an invoice from his builder for $40,000 for the renovations. It was exactly what he wanted, so he paid the invoice. Problem was the builder never saw the payment. And that was because they became victims to a payment redirection scam. So payment redirection scams are where the email is intercepted, bank details are changed on a PDF, and the funds get sent to the wrong person. This was the biggest scam that affected small businesses in 2020, and statistics show that's 5 times worse in 2021. The reason we're talking about this now is because e-invoicing wasn't created for government mandates or government departments, but it was designed to help small businesses. And in fact, that was something that Treasury kept in mind when they were doing e-invoicing, is because they were trying not just to meet the government mandates, but to support those small businesses. And that's just one of the threats that they help with. Now, Link4 has had we obviously do support government e-invoicing. We've had some good success. We are the most popular e-invoicing service provider in Australia. Some of our customers are mentioned on the screen here, but we don't have the time to go through and talk about them today. But interesting to note that the Treasury signed up in September last year. So they've actually come around almost to their full 12 months on their contract. They've now extended their contract, which kind of shows they're happy, I'm hoping. But what's key about that is they signed up more than 6 months before the mandate was in place. And that was because they wanted to help small business. So if they can make life easier for small business, then that is a good thing. So what were they looking for? When they were looking to do e-invoicing, Treasury wanted to work with a certified access point. So MBIE has gone through a process and made sure that there are access points that meet all the standards that you can trust and work with. And that's key to be able to picking a good access point. The Treasury also used Technology One, CI Anywhere. So obviously they needed an access point to clip on the front of that to be able to connect them to the network. Other things, of course, included, good pricing, make sure it's secure, and they wanted it to be delivered within 4 weeks. They didn't want a long implementation, and that was fine. That was something we could do. And supplier onboarding was important to them. Now, this comes back to talking about Aaron in the beginning. There's a lot of small businesses out there that will benefit from e-invoicing, but only if they hear about it, only if they can connect and start doing it. And so that's a key thing of not just building e-invoicing and meeting the standards, but communicating to them that you've got e-invoicing and that you're ready to go. So yeah, I stole this from one of the MB presentations I saw recently, that there is a communication strategy in place. There is some really good supporting materials that you can talk to your suppliers and let them know it's coming. Now, in this table here, it talks about even up to 8 months in advance, letting them know that it's coming. I don't think you've got 8 months really now to do that, but that's 8 months from understanding of when you will go live. So you need to be talking to access point providers like ourselves. You need to be talking to Paul at Technology One to make sure that you've got a go live date, and then step back from that and start communicating that out to your suppliers so they know it's coming. And I tell you, there's a lot of them that are looking forward to it. And you might be thinking, oh, government need to be live by March next year. There's already hundreds of businesses in New Zealand that we are servicing with e-invoicing actively now. So there are businesses doing it. And these cloud accounting systems that are mentioned in the blue section at the top are what a lot of small businesses are using. And these are connected to e-invoicing, that any of those users can get online and sign up, and within 2 minutes are active on the e-invoicing network. So it's simple for them to do it, and you can be connected. Obviously, the ones in the bottom are ERP systems that take an implementation and can take a bit longer, but they are also still on the network and being connected. So for the Treasury implementation, one of the important things for them too was to make sure that it was seamless, user experience for the suppliers, and that doesn't get affected, but also internally just to make sure that it works well with Technology One. So for that aspect, it is, people may say, oh, Technology One will do my e-invoicing, I don't need an access point. It's not exactly the case, because it's like the phone network. You might have a great phone, but you need a network provider to connect you to the network. That's what we do. We connect you to the network, but Technology One does all that cool stuff with your invoice and does the validation, etc. So it still needs to be connected. Once connected, you need to test it. Check all the scenarios, make sure it's working. It's not just a matter of being live. It needs extensive testing. There's dashboards that you can get to show, how things are going through with e-invoicing or not, and whether that's a part of your current situation that can be addressed by your ERP system, or if you want to use Link4's. There's also training. Now, an interesting point here, by the way, some people will go, we'll do e-invoicing after we've upgraded with Technology One. But one thing that we've found that works really well, working with Technology One recently, is combining them both. So instead of having an upgraded Technology One and getting trained on that, then doing e-invoicing and then getting trained on that, it's actually do them together, side by side, getting the same training happening at the one time. Makes it easy for the end user. Timely, obviously being able to get it in within time. As you get closer to the mandate date, there will be a time pressure on who can implement and what training can be done, etc. for that. So these things need to be scheduled. They need to be booked in. So the sooner you're talking to providers, the sooner you can actually plan that schedule. And talking to providers, by the way, right now, doesn't mean signing contracts right now and making sure you're locked in. It's a matter of planning it and making sure that you can meet that time frame and get that set up. As I said, Treasury before, they went live by December 2020, even though the mandate was June 30, 2021. So they wanted to make sure that they were able to be out there and supporting small business. They also had the ability, and it's not on here, but the onboarding of SMEs. There's other government departments that are not meeting the onboarding requirements. Now, obviously in New Zealand, you're mandated for that, so you're going to have to meet them. Treasury, and we're not mandated for it, but they actually actively work to get their suppliers on board because they saw the benefits to it, and that was a really good thing. Anyway, we've got a written case study if you'd like to read about it. So just email me or email Alice and we can get you a copy of that case study. So that's just touching on the e-invoicing with the Treasury from me.